about building a team. That's something that when I was putting together this presentation, I was like, I don't even really know what I did to build this team, but it was something that I strived for, having a cohesive, united front as a supervisory team. So I wanted to give you guys some takeaways. These are things that as leaders you can apply as supervisors to your agents, or as ops managers if you grow in that direction, that can help you build a supervisory team too. Then I'm going to talk about things that you guys can incorporate in your own office and things that I've done. I've also asked my supervisory team what they felt made them a great supervisory team. So we'll talk about some of the examples that they felt really built that team amongst themselves. It'll just keep you informed of the time, right? Okay. So be aware of how you work as a leader. Knowing what kind of leadership style or techniques that you guys have. And then knowing, is that an effective way to lead your team? And these PowerPoint presentations will be shared, so you don't have to write word for word if you don't want to. Take a look at yourself as a leader, so in your supervisory role. What are some of the things that you do? Are you effective as a leader with your team? Hold yourself accountable for course correction. So if there's something going on, you need to be able to identify what the issue is and then be able to correct it correctly or in a timely manner. So always lead from a positive aspect and be respectful to your team, and know who you are as a leader. That's very important. So are you a dictator as a leader? Are you a coach? Are you a mentor? Take a look. There's tons of quizzes online that you can do to find out what kind of leadership technique you have, and then see how that works for your office. Get to know the rest of your team. So one of the things that I thought was very, very important, and I started off as a CSR like Linda was saying and moved into the supervisory role, but get to know your team and make them a cohesive team and that you're a united front. We had a consultant come in a number of years ago, and one of the first things that she said to us was that we were not a united front as a supervisory team. The staff knew how to play us against each other. They knew that if you came in and you asked one supervisor, could I switch shifts, with an agent who's not in the same call class as me, one would say no, the other one would say yes and bend over backwards for that CSR. It's important to understand the needs of your team. And what makes them different. So one of the things that I've always said is, and I started off with I think maybe 2 supervisors, and we've grown to 6 currently. But one of the things was that they complete each other. So we always call them yin and yang. So there's different strengths that they have and different weaknesses, but they just complement each other, and it works very well as a team together. You have to invest in time to get to know your team and what motivates them. So once you know what motivates them, then it's very easy to empower them and encourage them to do things that will be a win-win for the company and for the call center and for themselves. So think of your team as puzzle pieces that can be placed together in a variety of different ways, and that's how they'll work together and accomplish what you want them to accomplish as a team. So clearly define their roles and responsibilities. So they need to clearly understand what their job is as a what your job is as a supervisor, what their jobs are as CSRs, and it needs to be crystal clear of what their responsibilities are and how you're going to measure them. And you need to be able to provide them with the proper tools to do their job. If they can't communicate to you what their responsibilities are or how they're measured, then they probably don't know, and they can't be an effective supervisor or CSR or manager if they don't know those things. So a team should operate as a mosaic whose unique strengths and differences convert into a powerful, united force. And make sure that they fit with your culture as well, because they're gonna, as supervisors, you guys lead that floor in operations, and if you don't set the tone for the culture, which I'm sure most of you guys have your culture clearly defined, then that's going to, it's going to not have your agents or your CSRs feeling that culture, and that's a huge part of it. So you set that tone for them. So be proactive with feedback. Feedback to your CSRs, to your fellow supervisors. Once we get later on talking about communication, feedback is the key to assure that a team is staying on track. So constant feedback, they know what they need to work on, they know what they're doing good. So feedback is very important to make sure that that is being provided to the team. And it should be proactive and constant. And I think in our day-to-day business, it's very busy, so sometimes feedback is the one thing that gets forgotten in those proactive meetings. So it can be on the fly. It doesn't have to be something that's, every Thursday at 5 o'clock, we're gonna sit and have a conversation. It needs to be on the fly and immediate. And it can be both formal and informal. Feedback is simply the art of great communication, and allow proactive feedback to serve as your team's greatest enabler for Kaizen, so continuous never-ending improvement. So if you're not giving that feedback to your CSRs, or your ops managers are not giving you guys that feedback, then you're not going to be able to continuously improve. So take the time to remind someone of how and what they can be doing better. Learn from them. Don't complicate the process of constructive feedback. And feedback is a two-way communication. So one of the things that I always said to the supervisors was that we need to have open communication. So if I'm going to give you some feedback, I need you to be able to give me feedback too. We need to have that two-way communication, because that's what's going to help us work together as a cohesive team as well. Acknowledge and reward. So take the time to give your team the proper recognition that they deserve. It also needs to be genuine. It needs to come from the heart. If it's just one of those, okay, I need to compliment everybody today, it's not going to accomplish what you want it to accomplish. So always reassure your team that you're paying attention to their efforts. As supervisors, you're probably learning as you go as well, and there's always something new that you're going to learn. I'm still learning every single day. And it's nice when somebody tells you that you're doing a great job and that your efforts are there and they see that you're trying. So that's something that needs to be said to all of you as well as your CSRs and your team. When people are acknowledged, their work brings them greater satisfaction and becomes more purposeful. So in today's time, with the millennials coming up and everybody wants to be part of a team that's doing something for the greater good. So if they have purpose and they know that they're doing a great job, then that will make them want to give it all as well. And always celebrate the successes. So those little things that you guys accomplish as a team, celebrate those things and fully understand what it was that helped you guys become successful and how it's impacted other people. So one of the things, I was going to school, as Linda said, for social work. And so one of the reasons that I stayed was because I knew I was making a difference in my supervisor's team and my CSR's lives. So just listening to your team and your staff and making a difference or an impact on their life, whatever way that it is. I feel that it's totally impacted our team and it's made us successful. So we celebrate those things. We celebrate everything. Celebration is a short-lived activity. Don't ignore it. Take the time to live in the moment and remember what allowed you to come and cross that finish line as a team. So working as a team. So those were some tips as leaders, what you could do for your staff as CSRs and what your ops managers should be doing as well. So working as a team, so one of the things that I asked the supervisory team is, what is the most important thing? And every single supervisor across each office said communication. Communication is definitely key. From communicating what their jobs are and what your jobs are, to being able to have that two-way open communication, like I said. The first thing when a supervisor comes to me and says, maybe the supervisor didn't do something correctly or they left something undone or uncompleted, I always encourage them to have that conversation with each other first before me getting involved. If you guys can't communicate as a supervisory team and be able to be honest and open with each other in a very respectful manner, then what are we accomplishing? You can't have the manager always come and play the mediator, although it does sometimes have to happen, but it creates this respect and bond with each other, and it makes you guys an even tighter team when you can just openly communicate. Communication is also one of the things that we strive for. Is the more knowledge that you guys know, the better it is for you guys to accomplish your jobs. So communicating with each other from what's going on in the company to the more knowledge in the sense of, one of the first things that I learned and was brought into was a HEG meeting, was the financial statements. I had never